Two friends meet up to drink some beers and talk about past times. Not yesterday, but long ago, it's scandals, wars, and crimes. From Stalin's reign to Prohibition, Tudors, Pompey, Bush, and NASA's mission, Edison's spoke, Genghis Khan's rise to victory. Forget your old teacher, it's time for Pint-Sized History.
Hi there, and welcome to the Pint-Sized History Podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Zack.
And we're back for part 2 of this Rasputin epic, where we find out about this gentleman, scholar, magician of the Russian Empire times. I mean, he's kind of magician-y, bit wizardy. Yeah, so far we've found out how he's made it from the very backlog of Russia all the way to the top of
the height of our aristocracy.
The pubs of St. Petersburg, where they're all drinking pints of vodka.
Yeah, bars probably more than pubs.
Yeah, and they're all like drinking some really fancy vodka and stuff. Smirnoff, of course.
Yeah, it wouldn't be...
no, Grey Goose. Got to be Grey Goose. The best.
Yeah, maybe.
Is that not the best vodka?
I don't know.
I'm not a vodka expert.
I tell you what I don't
Absolute.
like. When I went to Magaluf when I was 17, you drank Rushkanov there.
Rushkanov.
And Rushkanov, you get the famous Rushkanov cough, which is it's like a illness you get after a week because Rushkanov is basically like 90% bleach. It's not. It's vodka. It's vodka, but it's just like super poor. It's not distilled at all, and you get like sore throat from probably the partying and Magaluf and the necking on with strangers.
I didn't know that.
But also the vodka itself.
Well, speaking of really tasty vodka, here's a drink that isn't vodka, but it is a lovely beer, and it's by Crate Brewery. This is a hazy, and I believe that's a hazy as well.
I've also again got a hazy.
Yeah.
It's as if we recorded these in the same time, same room again.
Yes, within seconds of each other. That's crazy. And these are very tasty beers, and we're very thankful to Crate for sponsoring us.
But
What's
Joe,
the code, Zack? Please, Zack, spell out the code for our
Joe,
listeners.
if I wanted to find one of these, who cares? It's greatbrewery.com. It's PINTSIZED15. Go get your hands on
you don't know how to spell.
Get your hands on a lovely Crate beer and drink your fill, please.
Right, Zack, where are we up to?
Right, so we just talked about how he's gone through his rags and riches stories. You kindly summarised that
legend
for everyone there, and he's now
What
in
a
St.
ruler and
Petersburg.
Leader this is. This should go into our rulers and leaders playlist.
I didn't actually mention the first part. This is going to be in our rulers and leaders section.
Slay.
It's not really like a ruler or a leader. No. He's an interesting person.
That's actually true, yeah. Rulers and leaders and cool guys.
Yeah, he's the first ruler and leader that's not actually a ruler or a leader.
But he's a spiritual leader.
Yeah, social.
So he kind of
leader. Yeah.
It's vague.
How wide do we cast our net with
it's got to be quite
leaders?
wide. We could rulers, leaders, and sick cunts. How about that?
So he's now in St. Petersburg, which is the capital of Moscow. It's where all the affluent scene, the aristocrats are. Maybe besides Moscow, I don't know if Moscow's as built up as St. Petersburg, because St. Petersburg is supposed to be this new city. That's what the Tsars at the time, they wanted St. Petersburg to be like the cool, fresh, like really modern. St. Petersburg's fairly new. It was like built on this like marshland like a few hundred years ago because the Russian royal family at the time looked at all these like crazy European cities like London and Amsterdam and were like, God, we need one of those ourselves, and St. Petersburg is that. So I think when you talk about people who go to Russia and go visit there, I think typically they say more glowing things about St. Petersburg than they do
I would
Moscow.
love to see St. Petersburg.
Yeah, for sure. We can't go there.
No, not right now.
No. And after what we said about Putin, fucking hell, no chance.
No.
It'll be Medvedev next. Is that his name? Medvedev?
What about him? Yeah, no, it is.
Him next. We like Medvedev.
Well, you think it's gonna be him after Putin
dies?
dies?
That's like the rumours, isn't it? That he's going to succeed Putin. Right, so it's St. Petersburg, 1915, and Rasputin has just met the Black Princesses, who are white. Okay. They are 2 Montenegrin princesses, and they married 2 more royal brothers within the Romanov family. They married cousins of Tsar Nicholas II, and they're fascinated by Rasputin. They think he's
hella cool.
Yeah, like everyone, but they have the pulling power to get Rasputin to like come back to ask for afters. Yeah. Because he's given the drugs.
Of course, yeah. He's whipping out his jacket going, what do you want, ladies? my black
powders and baggies.
Black princesses, what do you want?
That's why he wears a big coat. It's just like full.
Yeah, that's what I
fucking,
thought. That's the impression I get.
Yeah. Also, I didn't mention before, but the aristocrats see like Rasputin, the noblesses see him. They're like, he's a bit rough. And the Black Princesses, anyway, these royalty in Montenegro, they are married to Tsar Nicholas II's cousins, and they introduce Rasputin on the 1st of November 1905 to Tsar Nicholas II and Tsarina Empress Alexandra Fedorovna at the Peterhof Palace in St. Petersburg. Now, in my mind, this is an unbelievably significant part of history. Like, this like rogue meeting you can't like really think about that many world events that from like two people meeting or shaking hands or having a conversation, so much emerges from.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably quite hard to actually think of. I'm sure they do.
It's one of those occasions you'd love to be the fly in the room that's watching these two completely different figures meet for the very first time.
Yeah, but Rasputin meeting the Tsarina will send ripples throughout history. Like it's like the butterfly effect or the domino effect. It's like this is crazy, and what happens because of it, and what might have happened if it didn't happen. From the relationship that the Rasputin and Tsarina have, the peasants start reevaluating their loyalty to the monarchy, and the monarchy starts getting unstable and it falls apart. And the revolution happens in 1917 when Lenin inspires the masses because they're sick of the way they're treated.
And suddenly communism is a thing.
Yeah, and so communism and the Soviet Union's a thing, and then World War II happens and Stalin's there.
Now there's an evil to capitalism, and the Cold War begins.
Yeah, exactly, and it goes all the way to today, and you still have the Russian Empire dealing with the consequences of its past and the relations it had with the West because of what happened in World War II, which is detail about what happened in the 1900s when they overthrew the Tsar. Yep. It's like you can't really picture a more monumental meeting of like two people than this right here. If I'm
sure there are some that you could.
Yeah, if you do consider this to be like because a lot of historians don't think that like Rasputin was
impact
like that like large an impact on Russian society. Like there was this undercurrent of like hatred towards monarchy because of World War One, because of food shortages and terrible quality of life. But if you do give weight to it, it is an enormous chance meeting that happens that forever changes the world. It's insane. And as like an avid lover of history, it's like it just shocked me. Like
it's hard not to be interested by the romanticism of it. This one chance meeting between these completely different figures in Russian history is suddenly going to change how the world is. For hundreds of years after,
which is the way I like to view it. I think if we're going down the fantasy element of Rasputin's story, that is the way I'd like to view it. This chance meeting has inspired hundreds of years of change.
There's no reason not to.
So Rasputin meets the Tsarina, and important to note here, and it will seem a bit strange I'm mentioning this, but the Tsarina is a carrier of haemophilia, which is something that Queen Victoria was a carrier of too. So Queen Victoria passed down her children to get married to different rulers across Europe and the world, and they all carried this genetic disease called haemophilia. And haemophilia is basically a genetic disease where you bleed far more profusely than you should do. You don't form blood clots, so you have internal bleeding. A slight cut might be really troubling. You can get internal bleeding, hemorrhages basically constantly. That can really. I think the average age people live to with haemophilia in this age is like 13 or something. Like it's really young.
Yeah.
And the Tsar and Tsarina have their new child, Alexei. And basically this boy is the new heir to the throne of Russia, but he is struggling with haemophilia.
Right.
And he is having these bouts where he's hemorrhaging and bleeding and they can't get to stop it. And the Tsar and Tsarina become convinced somehow, I don't actually know why, they become convinced that Rasputin is the right person to treat this and heal their son. They're probably grasping at straws.
Yeah.
The doctors probably can't find a cure.
Because this isn't something that doctors should be able to fix just like anything. Yeah. So it's like when you're running out of ideas because they're helping in what way they can, then you start becoming desperate.
So they're convinced like Rasputin to do it. Like it must be a religious thing. It must be spiritual. And they're probably all still quite religious in the 1900s. I'd imagine so. This is where Rasputin gets in with the royal family. They summon him to the imperial palace in 1907, and he's asked to pray for Prince Alexei, he's just had an internal hemorrhage.
Yeah,
he gets really lucky, Rasputin, because at the time the painkiller being given to treat a lot of illnesses is aspirin,
and that's a bad one because it's a blood thinner.
Yes, so what Alexei gets to treat his haemophilia is aspirin, which is a blood thinner.
Yeah,
which is the worst possible thing you could probably give to someone who has haemophilia because they can't form blood clots. They've even thinner blood; they just keep bleeding basically.
Yeah.
So Rasputin tells the Tsarina to stop giving him medicine, calm down, and pray for him. Let the prayer do the work, and this will be fine. And he orders the doctors to basically leave him alone. He might know the aspirin isn't working.
I doubt it.
He probably doesn't know. But
I doubt it. I think he's just going on a wing. He's just winging it. I think he's been winging it this entire fucking time. I mean, that's kind of the absolute role he's on.
Alexei recovers dramatically from this bout he's having, and he's totally fine. And the Tsarina and her entourage, they're just like, this guy. He's saved your son. He is the real deal.
Yeah.
And his influence in the aristocracy completely skyrockets from that moment onwards. This is like the big getting in with the in crowd, and Rasputin handles it with like immense success, essentially. This isn't the only time this happens either. Later in 1912, Alexei has another hemorrhage, and Rasputin again, he tells the Tsarina to stop worrying and be calm about the plight that Alexei is having. If your mum's not calm and your doctors aren't calm and they're treating this person with hemophilia and they're getting more stressed, they're going to bleed more, essentially. And by leaving him alone and letting him get rest, it's probably the best thing to do. And the doctors don't realise this,
which is good advice.
Rasputin does. So maybe he realizes after the first time he gets lucky that like what they need is just to give him rest and recovery.
Again, I think he's just fucking winging it. I'm not gonna lie. Well, yeah, I mean, he's barely got any formal education.
I think he's more intelligent than people give him credit
he is intelligent.
I think he might see it,
but he's not more intelligent than the doctors that are also, doing this.
But you said yourself the doctors don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I don't think he knows what he's doing. That's my point. I just think the doctors are using the very limited education or reasoning that they have so far to create these ideas, and some of them work, some of them don't. Rasputin, I think, is just coming from this from a complete kind of, if the system isn't working, let's just wing it and say, in fact, he probably doesn't say I think, he probably says, I know that you need to just do this. Yeah. And he just is, I think he's on a lucky streak. I think he gets things right. And some of it is good thinking, but some of it, I reckon, is just complete luck. What would he know about if aspirin is going to help or not?
I don't know.
He wouldn't know. He's just genuinely thinking, well, this hasn't worked, so I'm just going to come in very confidently and just say, we should do the opposite.
If we take your mind canon of him being a drug dealer, maybe he knows a bit more about aspirin.
Yeah, he's
taken it and cut himself.
If you do LSD and then you have aspirin, that really ruins the high. So here, have some of this fucking ecstasy instead.
Yeah, have calm. And by like this time, like 1910, Rasputin's access and his infiltration into the Russian royal family is just growing and growing. Apparently, he's got access to the nurseries of the royal family. He frequently goes to like the kids' bedrooms and like cuddles them to sleep and stuff like that.
That's hella creepy.
Really sus. Apparently, in this nursery, he rapes one of the governesses there. A lot of the time, so
why are we treating this guy like he's cool?
So this is the thing. Some of the accounts at the time suggest that he is a rapist and like he is a philanderer and he's going around fucking everyone and basically like manipulating his followers and having sex with them for his own gains.
Yeah.
But like I think there's other historical accounts which suggest that these are fabricated and it's not right. And he really is just, he's a spiritual man who has a lot of sex, but he's not a necessarily bad or evil person. He's just a chancer. So yeah, there are accounts pushed by enemies of his that he's a rapist and has done this. The extent of validity you have in them, I don't know. It must be very slim. Maybe something stick. I think he probably does fuck his followers. I think he probably uses his like influence. It's like Harry Styles shagging some of the like 16, 17-year-old fans he has or something like that.
Well, that's pretty much. What the fuck?
If he does do that.
What the fuck? Harry, I'm so sorry. If you are listening to this pod, and I imagine you are, I'm so sorry that Zack just said that.
It's more like James Franco.
How many people are you going to out for fucking kids?
James Franco is a nonce.
Is he?
Well, I don't know if he's a nonce, but he.
Why can't we just say like Prince Andrew?
No,
who was actually a nonce. Fine, but it's not, instead of fucking calling it Harry Styles.
Prince Andrew hasn't got followers. Prince Andrew's not got people like, oh, I love Prince Andrew.
He would have though.
You think?
Yeah.
Prince Harry might, and he definitely shagged a couple of them. You're telling me he didn't?
Fuck, this is some weird. This is litigation
James Franco literally did have sex like a 17-year-old.
Thank God we're not a big podcast.
Have you not seen the text? Have you not seen the text, man?
Which text?
The text that James Franco sent to his fan.
Ew.
When you get home, Google James Franco text, and he's like chirping fucking 16, 17-year-olds on Instagram.
Okay, all right. So, how does James Franco noncing kids have to do with?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Rasputin probably did use his position of being like ultra famous and infiltrating Russian
It's bad to assume, but I think I would probably guess that as well.
Yeah, he's definitely done some things wrong. If everyone thinks that he is a philanderer and loves like fiddling people, then like if everyone's saying it, there's probably something about him which suggests that's happened. And like
Harry Styles catching strays.
It is common knowledge that like he's got a big penis and his penis is is kept in glass, and maybe that gives like more significance to the idea that he is a sex pest or sex addict. If they pull him out of the water, so I'm skipping ahead here, but they pull him out of the water when he gets assassinated, basically.
Yes,
spoilers.
Which is a very interesting part of the story.
Yeah, and the first thing they're doing is cutting off his dick and putting it in fucking pickle juice. You'd think maybe.
Well, that just means he's famous for his cock. That doesn't mean that he's a nonce.
But the rumours, it's the rumours at the time, because the rumours, there were like newspaper cartoons circulating of him like having affairs with the Tsarina and stuff like that. So like it's really common thought at the time that he is
an adulterer.
The peasantry and like the people that don't like him they're like being led to believe by like the state police and like the newspapers and cartoons and publishers and like critics that he is this like adulterer, sex fanatic, crazy guy from Siberia who's just going around fucking everyone. But like really, we're not really sure to what extent that's the case. Rasputin's so divisive. For a man that like does potentially as little as he's done or as much as he's done, I can't think of many that are as divisive as that.
We just compared him to Harry Styles, so I don't know. Are they on the same level?
Harry Styles is not divisive.
No,
I love him.
Yeah, do you now? Literally just
I
accused him of shagging his 16-year-old. Is there any evidence?
I don't like James Franco, but I like Harry Styles.
So why is Harry Styles catching the bullet first?
I know. It was just like a maybe, like a what if?
A what if?
Yeah.
Poor Harry. Sorry.
Anyway.
I'm excited to find out how this prick dies.
So anyway, I cut ahead quite a lot there, and it's been a bit rambling so far. But thank you for sticking with us in this. This like.
Do you think anyone's listening?
You keep pulling me off topic and talking about whether he's a sex deviant or not. So apparently, according to like popular culture and in Russia at the time, Rasputin is now seducing the Tsarina. You know, he's got access to nurseries and the royal court in unprecedented levels.
The Tsarina is the queen of Russia.
Yeah, the emperor, the empress.
The empress.
Yeah. Apparently, letters written to Rasputin by the Tsarina are published, which show like their sort of relationship at play is quite friendly and jovial, and they're put out there into the mainstream. Essentially, rumors start circulating that Rasputin is shagging the Tsarina, which is an incredible scandal for the imperial court.
Hell yeah.
While this is ongoing, Tsar Nicholas II asks Rasputin to leave St. Petersburg due to the scandal. Yeah, which maybe gives more weight to the scandal.
Honestly, that's poor. Why isn't he just killing him? He's literally some peasant from Siberia, and he's shagging.
He's a friend of theirs.
He's shagging the empress.
He's really close with Nicholas.
I think this is the problem with Tsar Nicholas II. He was very. I don't know.
Yeah. Tsar Nicholas is not a good leader.
He's not a good leader, but I think this is a very small.
At the same time, you're asking why they're not.
How many leaders from this time period would have heard that rumor and just killed him straight away?
Yeah.
How many?
But at the same time, how many of them were killed a significant religious figure who is
he though?
Who is also
he's a cult figure
who is on record healed their son twice.
Yeah, but on record, you can. They're the Tsar and Tsarina. They can change the media.
I don't
perception.
think it's as easy as that.
I don't know. I reckon most leaders of this time would have just fucking killed him.
Yeah. So he makes a pilgrimage to what is Palestine at the time, which I think assumes that he goes to Jerusalem and goes visits holy sites there. And he eventually returns back to the imperial court. He then starts to become this sort of like controversial figure. His enemies are growing in number, and they're accusing him of being both a religious heretic and a rapist, like I said earlier, and accusing him of this like affair with the Tsarina, which is probably the most important thing. In June 1914, Rasputin survives an assassination attempt. He goes back to Pokrovsky in Siberia, and he's going there. He frequents back and forth, probably to see his wife, have more children. He has 7 children by the time he dies. And while Rasputin's in Pokrovsky, he is stabbed by a 33-year-old woman in the stomach outside his home. He's seriously wounded. It wasn't really clear if he'd survive, but apparently he makes a dramatic recovery. There's not much that looks like can kill Rasputin if he's surviving. He's one of 8 surviving kids in Siberia, and is getting stabbed in the stomach but surviving. Yeah. He's built of tough stuff, an iron constitution this man has.
Troy from our previous pod, he fought Rasputin.
You're right, yeah, Troy did.
Troy fought him.
Yeah.
He was Troy, if you don't remember what we're talking about, Troy from our History of London one, he is a stunt man. Yeah. And he was stunt man. I was forgetting stunt artist, I guess. And he plays one of the Kingsmen that fight Rasputin in the 1910s.
Yeah, it's a cool scene of them like dancing around a table or something.
Have you watched that movie?
Nope.
Oh, it's so good.
Really good.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I saw the original.
I want to watch it again now that I know Troy is the one fighting Rasputin. And he's the body, I can't remember what the actor's name is, but he's the body double of that blonde, tall English actor.
This would-be assassin of Rasputin is apparently a former supporter of Rasputin, but has been disgusted by his sexual escapades and wanted to murder him because he's a false prophet and possibly even an antichrist. Which is, it's a word Christians like to throw around a lot, an antichrist. Yeah, there's so many of them.
Of course, because it's the worst thing ever.
The opposite of Christ.
Yeah.
And apparently this woman was motivated to do so by another priest who used to be a friend of Rasputin's, but is jealous of him. I think his name is Iliador. And he's another very famous Orthodox church priest. And he didn't like Rasputin, so apparently this person's been manipulated by him to stage the assassination attempt. Iliador eventually is banished or something, or goes in exile to avoid accountability for his crimes. So then World War One begins. Rasputin's life goes through like some serious events in history.
Yeah.
Like you're going through, I guess you don't get to the Russian Revolution, but you're going through World War One at least, and the ends of the Russian Empire. So Tsar Nicholas in 1915 decides he's going to lead the army and take personal command of the Russian army because they're getting absolutely humiliated in World War One.
Yes, that's
it does not go well. I think the big one is Teutoburg Forest, and they get like hundreds of thousands of Russians are killed on like in a single battle by a battle over a few weeks or something by the German army. They're getting embarrassed time and time again, and Nicholas is like, "I'll take command," even though he's
isn't it Tannenberg?
Tannenberg,
Yeah,
not Teutoburg. What's Teutoburg?
I think you're thinking of the Roman legions fighting the Visigoths or some sort of barbarians in like northern
I think
Germania.
Germany. I think it rides in Germany. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's the Teutoburg Forest.
Tannenberg's in Poland.
Tannenberg's like a city or not a city, but like a town and village area where there's like a big battle between.
Yeah, you might be right then. Yeah.
Yeah.
This basically leaves the Tsarina in charge, and Rasputin is pretty much he has a great friendship with the Tsarina at this point, so he is also essentially left in charge. According to like the opponents of Rasputin, he has got the ear of the Tsarina, so he's a close advisor basically at this point. Some people suggest that Rasputin and Alexandra sort of like consolidate their influence over domestic affairs. They think he's like meddling in domestic policies. Others suggest this is like really wildly overblown and that he's not that serious at all. He's not got this ambition for power, but he is there. He is there in the imperial court with this like intense influence. To what extent he's interested in it is another subject completely, but like he's certainly around at least giving counsel to Tsarina. And the Tsarina is a terrible governor of Russia. Like she is making really bad decisions. The home front in Russia is basically as bad as it's been. There's food shortages, terrible cost of living crises. There is like a constant movement of prime ministers, one in, one out. Basically, the Duma is like really unstable, which is the Russian parliament.
Yeah.
They really don't like the Tsarina. So discontent's growing, and the vehicle for that, rather than being the Tsarina, well, it is the Tsarina as well. The Tsarina is German, so there's a lot of discontent around her because Russians are at war with German. There's a German in
Similar
charge.
to why the royal family changed their surname from something very German.
Hohenzollern?
Habsburg or something.
Habsburgs, that's
to
it.
Windsor,
not the Carlings.
to Windsor because it was a much more wholesome, English name.
So they don't like her. So their fury's directed at both Rasputin and the Tsarina, but like for some reason, Rasputin is like the obvious figure here of being their ire, which is kind of worrying. It's like it's not really the right place to put it. And according to different historical sources, depending on what you think, he's not been that involved, but he is the homeless Siberian man who's gone from being a pilgrim to being this most influential figure.
Yeah.
So of course a lot of the nobles are thinking, he's going around shacking our fucking wives.
He's the puppet master.
We got to get rid of him.
He's the one that's controlling all this. It must be.
But regardless, this is like the beginning of the end for the Russian royal family. Essentially, this idea that a madman, religious heretic from Siberia has risen to these lengths just kind of makes the public start believing at a time where industrialization and globalization is happening and they're getting more powers, more freedoms, and democracies are developing and they're having more expression. They're thinking this is not right at all that this guy can like come in here and start like influencing policy when we're living in squalor. It really just basically makes them think to a certain extent and probably influences the rise of communism to a certain extent later. So we're now coming to the end of the story. This is Russia's in turmoil. The war front is not going well. Apparently, by the way, Rasputin does write letters to Tsar Nicholas telling him to not get involved in the war. They're not easily verified. It's really the problem with the story. Nothing is able to be verified or validated. It's very few things we actually say are valid. But he's writing letters to Tsar Nicholas saying, stop the war. It's so bad. This is invoking God's wrath. This is not a good thing to do. Pull ourselves out of it.
His instincts were always right.
Apparently so. If we take this romanticized version of him, he does have this like knack for understanding what's happening socially and across the country. Probably because he's a peasant, and these peasants know that when war comes down the line, war will always affect the peasants the most.
He knows the heartbeat better.
Yeah, like war's not going to affect the nobles. War is this like great idealistic conquest that these nobles can go on, but when in actuality you have someone from Siberia whose family will probably get pulled in and drafted and taken to the war front and murdered with very little choice and chance of actually surviving, there starts being this like this second guessing thought in the royal family. Now he's here suggesting don't do this, which is probably not something you don't hear because all the top commanders are probably saying, go to war, let's do it,
yeah.
Let's cement our legacy. So Rasputin is now the subject of a vicious plot in December 1916 to end his life. Rasputin is lured to the Moika Palace by Prince Felix Yusupov and a group of nobles shortly after midnight on 30th December 1916. He's ushered into a basement, offered tea and cakes laced with cyanide, and he starts eating them, loads of them, but is completely unaffected by the poison.
Yeah, I've heard of this story. This is hilarious.
He then asks for some Madeira wine to wash down all the teas and cakes, which is also poisoned. And again, after 3 glasses of the wine, and I presume for Rasputin, who's a big guy and loves a drink, they are big glasses of Madeira wine.
Yeah.
Very sweet wine. And he drinks it, he's unaffected by it. At 2:30 a.m., Yusupov goes and gets a revolver, returns to the basement, upset the fact that the poison has not killed Rasputin yet, and shoots him in the chest. Rasputin collapses. The conspirators think he's dead. So they go to his house, Rasputin's flat, and they dress up as him and try and convince the public around that Rasputin's gone back home, it's all fine. Later, they go back to the basement to check if Rasputin is still alive or is definitely dead.
How do they not leave anyone with his body?
I don't know.
That's fucking bizarre.
So they go back to the palace to check if he's dead.
Yeah.
And he jumps up and starts attacking Yusupov.
Nice.
He's been shot in the chest. He's been poisoned by these cakes.
He'd taken some
wines.
Molly right before. He was like, that must be it. He was high as
Yeah,
a
high
kite.
as fuck.
So he thought that the bullet didn't hit him or hurt him, rather.
Yeah,
It was like
it's
he was
a-
ready
it's
to
a
go.
delay-
He's on pure adrenaline.
Yeah, it could just be like, heroin and adrenaline.
Yeah,
slows his blood flow.
Yeah.
He's not going to be ill. Anyway, he chases Yusupov upstairs and into a palace courtyard where he's shot 2 more times by another noble in the group. Once, again, I think in the body, and another once in the head. And he then collapses into the snow, seemingly forever. He's then wrapped in cloth and driven by the conspirators to Petrovsky Bridge, and he's dropped into a river.
Yeah, an ice cold lake.
Yeah. Rasputin's body is then pulled up from under the river ice, a little bit downstream. And tales told in Russia at the time suggest that when they perform the autopsy on Rasputin, they find ice under his nails, suggesting that he wasn't killed by the shot in the head, the 2 other gunshots to his body, the poison that he'd been eaten, but what had actually killed him was drowning. So even after all that, he's still trying to claw his way back to life, which is this insane idea that this guy,
That's
this
nuts.
hulking brute of a man, this 6'3" guy, cannot be killed. This religious figure, this like devout God sort of obsessed fanatic cannot be killed by mortal means. He is invincible.
Are there any other famous figures that have such a death like that? That's got to be
don't know, it's
like the
insane.
most iconic death ever, or like the most famous, not famous, but like the most ridiculously weird death by a famous
I don't
person
know. There
ever.
probably are
That's
some.
right up there.
Yeah, if you know any other interesting deaths that happened to some sort of world figures, leave a message
Yeah,
in the
because
comments.
he's
Let us know.
high up the list of world famous
For sure,
figures,
yeah.
and he's got the most bizarre death I've ever heard of.
Apparently, in reality, though, the surgeon concluded during the autopsy that the gunshots killed him. Apparently, there was no cyanide in the cakes or wines.
Aye.
Apparently,
Well, that's all bullshit then.
They found no, in his toxicology reports, they found no poison, and there was no water in his lungs, suggesting that he didn't drown and that he was already dead. Because I think if you're dead, you don't breathe, therefore no water in the lungs. But I think the other version,
Yeah, fuck that doctor, fuck that surgeon. I want to believe.
Absolutely. So now I've alluded to this like throughout the entire episode, but the future of Russia at the hands of Rasputin's legacy, I guess, how they intertwine. The death is like particularly troubling. He's murdered by a group of nobles. None of them are held accountable for what they've done. But it's what happens after, the legacy he leaves, which is incredible. What essentially his death grips Russia, because it shows a couple of things. Firstly, genuinely mental that a man like Rasputin can rise to power and be such a threat to nobles that they have to kill him to like get rid of him. There's like this homeless, crazy, potentially drug addicted, like religious figure. He's risen all the way to the heights of power, and he's right at the heart of imperial rule. Second, the immorality of the nobles and their inability to govern, because none of them are called to account for the crime they committed in murdering Rasputin. Killing him suggests that he's been pulling the strings of government, he's been governing over the country alongside the Tsarina, while everyone's been suffering. This crazy man has been governing. So there's kind of like a couple things there which are making people think, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are we living in this shit system where this injustice is allowed to happen? This crazy sex affairs happening at the top of our government. We're suffering. The nobles go around killing whoever they like. The Tsarina's fucking some random homeless guy from Siberia who's just doing drugs and preaching about, he's doing orgies, dancing, chanting, having sex with followers. And we're here in the mire. And I'd like to think this is a significant factor in the calls for like a revolution afterwards, and aspiring.
I don't know if it'd be that significant, but it'd be there.
Yeah, I mean the first.
It would be part of the mindset.
Yeah, it's probably not even the most significant cause, because obviously World War One is almost certainly the most significant cause.
There's many things it would have been, but I doubt. But I think it would have added. It certainly would have.
Certainly a factor in the eventual overthrowing of the Romanovs, and to what extent it contributed to them eventually getting ousted, it's arguable.
Yeah.
Historians debate whether it's over exaggerated, to what effect Rasputin had on like the future that Russia finds itself into, but it is absolutely fascinating to think that in theory this rags to riches story, this guy who's born in the middle of nowhere goes in an ambitious journey to find power and fame and lust, gets all the way to St. Petersburg and the royal family, is consequential for shaping a country like Russia, like he potentially has. And I think I find that so romantic and way more exciting. Romanticized, same thing. But,
isn't he a rapist?
You're a doubter, Joe. I'm not a believer that he raped anyone. I think he was a bit sus. I don't think he raped
hella sus.
Yeah, he's
Did
really
you say he cuddled the kids of the emperor?
Yeah, but I think he was like an uncle figure. Yeah, Uncle Rassi.
That's dodgy, man. That's dodge.
Yeah, that's the story of Rasputin.
Woo! What a guy. Top 5 rulers and leaders.
You think?
Yeah.
He's not a ruler or leader, though.
No. Well, that's what makes him so incredible.
He's saying that because we've done 5 rulers and leaders episodes.
Exactly.
He's in the
5. He's awesome. It's such a fun story of Rasputin. I didn't actually know we were going to film Rasputin until I got in this afternoon. And I love it. I love the idea that this crazy guy. He must be crazy.
Genuinely, he can't be right in the head.
Nuts. I feel like he's got the records for like one of the biggest rags to riches stories, and at the same time one of the most ridiculous deaths that you would.
And body count.
And body count. And
a lot of people.
And it's just the story is.
Maybe I haven't given enough
off the scale.
Maybe I'm not giving enough attention because I think it's like doubtful whether how much sex he actually had, but like. To some
Where's
accounts,
his cock? Somewhere.
To some accounts, yeah, it's in a museum.
Where? Which museum?
I don't know.
We should go see it.
We should, but it's probably in Russia. We can't go there, like we discussed.
Tough.
But apparently, he does have like a harem that follows him around, which is.
And we're still talking about him today. This is not a political leader, and yet we're still talking about him today. So pretty cool. Thank you, mate. That's good.
Thank you. Right. Thank you all for joining us for
Cheers.
another episode of Pint-Sized History. We talked about Rasputin today, and next time, I don't know what we're talking about, but we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks a lot.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.